a special guest who's visiting me from Eretz Yisrael by Eli Goldsmith, and he's coming, or Goldsmith as you say in English. He's coming and he's going to give us a 5-minute introduction, just an idea, and then we're going to go and we'll delve into it because let's go.
Thank you very much. Personally, being a goldsmith, not a goldschmidt, now I'm back in London. I'm just coming from Yerushalayim, and part of this goldsmith family was about filling venues. If you heard of my uncle Harvey, my family, so that was something which I grew up with in my kishkas, in my, and it was a big important part of the power of an experience. And I wanted to share that with you, coming from Yerushalayim, a little bit of ideas on this parsha. That one, the concept of filling a venue gives us connection to this idea that the most attended event of the Jewish calendar, which you all will agree, other than Yom Kippur coming up, is Pesach, Seder night. Yeah, personally growing up, I wasn't so religious at all. But the Seder night, Kodesh Kadoshim, that was Holy of Holies, as well as obviously Yom Kippur, I mentioned that already. And the Seder night was something which brought all the family together and still does. You can go to India and it's got the largest Seder night in the world. Yeah, thanks to our Chabad friends. But the idea that Seder night is such a gathering, such a venue, is obviously a taste of what's to come. So what's this got to do with our parsha? So as our special Rabbi TAL, gives me the honor to be here, Rabbi TAL, he's giving us the connection to this very deep idea of Seder. What is Seder? Having order. He's also giving us a connection to the idea of gratitude. Two concepts. So where do we see this in the parsha? So if we go into the parsha Kisava, we see that the essence, the real formula, like if you could put the Haggadah into a formula and say, where does this formula exist? It's in this week's parsha, in Parshat Bikurim. I'm a Kohen. What would the Kohen, what would be read to the Kohen? Where would he read this? He'd read this Parsha's Bikurim, he would read these words, and they have the essential essence, the meaning, the organization, the Seder, would be in this week's Parsha, this beginning part. So we understand the whole Haggadah, which as we know, everyone knows Haggadah is so special. Everyone has a connection to the Haggadah, including myself. I remember it as a kid. I remember reading all the different parts, Manish Tana, Laila Zeh, and all the different special moments. So the essential part of the Haggadah is within this Parsha. So where do we see? So there's one of the powerful concepts we learn out from this week's Parsha is also this is the 50th time of Yetziat Mitzrayim, of going out of Egypt, which is obviously the concept of the Haggadah. Leaving Egypt, leaving the Meitzarim, the restrictions, leaving a place of restrictions, leaving a place of struggle. I would say even for myself, coming to London this week and experiencing all the wonderful things Rabbi TAL's doing, experiencing my family again in London, all my friends, I feel like there's a certain concept of leaving Mitzrayim, of constantly every day we mention it. And Shabbat, I have one of my musicians, his name's Yosef Danil. I represent a lot of artists, following in the family footsteps, like a good Jewish boy. So his name's Joseph Danil. He's a Mexican convert. Right now he's in Corpus Christi, Texas for some reason. And it's actually where he's originally from, as well as Mexico. And he is telling me over the phone from Mexico, or Corpus Christi actually, but from that environment, telling me about the power of leaving Mitzrayim. And I'm hearing this guy, I got all the messages on my phone, and he wants to hear his message. It's very moving, about how everything is connected to Yetziat Mitzrayim. These are the words from my music friend. And this power that when you make Kiddush, you mention every morning, and obviously the whole Seder night, is about leaving Mitzrayim. And here we are, at the end of the Parsha, of the Chumash, end of the Torah, coming to a climax with, the Yom Tovim, Simchat Torah. We're reading about Kisav, we're reading about leaving Mitzrayim, and that is the way we celebrate bringing the first fruits to the temple, to the Kohen, and bringing this special sacrifice. We're once again connecting. So what's the relevance of the 50 times leaving Mitzrayim? What is relevant to you and me? So it says in very deep books, it says the idea that before the Messiah comes, before Mashiach, at the end of days that we're in, there's going to be this concept of Nun Sharei Tuma. There's a gate that we're going to be in a place of intense restrictions. Like, I don't know if you're where you're at, all of you personally. I don't know you wonderful people yet, but I know for myself, being around rabbinics or being around friends and family and seeing different Jews going through different things and the world generally, globally, that there's tremendous intensity of restrictions and struggle and pain, but at the same time there's an opportunity for tremendous connection. So this Nun Shari Tuma that we're seeing in the world, this increase of struggle and impurity seemingly, is an opportunity for us to also leave Mitzrayim nowadays. And that connects into why this is the 50th time mentioned that we're leaving Mitzrayim. It's connected to this concept that we're going out towards the Gula, to the redemption. That really is one of the goals of the Seder night, to not just us leave Egypt, but to enter Eretz Yisrael, Kisavar Aretz, to come to the land, to come to our homeland, to come to the times of the Messianic age where we will all be in Eretz Yisrael and the world will be happy with that. So I'll just end off with this, how to give a little bit of practical touch. What is this 50th connected to, and how does this tie into our daily life? I mentioned two ideas. Seder, thanks to the rabbi, having order, organization. And the other one is gratitude. Gratitude, what are we doing here? We're thanking Hashem that He took us out of Mitzrayim. We're thanking Hashem. Really, the most powerful of all the times we mention Mitzrayim is to thank. Seder night, what do? We thank Hashem. That's the main part of the Seder, is to really say, Toda al Hashem, Hodil Hashem. To really thank Him. And how relevant is that in your daily life? To thank your employee, to thank your employer, to thank, most importantly, your wife, your soulmate, or your husband, to thank the rabbi, to thank the place hosting a wonderful shul, first time I've ever been here, to thank these hosts, thank you for hosting us so generously and doing it with such kavod, the davening, and giving us an opportunity to pray together. There's so much to thank. Personally, I'll just end off like this musician, Yosef Danil, he's going to be joining me on a tour in Miami in November. We'll be going to other places as well, but we're going to give thanks there. Because Rav Shalom Morish, the rabbi that I'm bringing there, he is all about giving Todah, Hashem. Thank Hashem. I don't just help artists, I also love to help rabbis as well. And the whole idea of thanking Hashem, he says, well then you'll see miracles. So this concept will end off and summarize, because we want the rabbi to enlighten us. But the most important thing that I would take out of this, one, is that there's Seder, you have organized, you see, even in the Seder night, everything's in the Seder, everything's about how we start the new year coming up. Also Rosh Hashanah, there is a connection, the beginning of the festivals and the beginning of the new year, with Rosh Hashanah and Pesach, there's a circle, there's a connection, a continuation, and the idea of gratitude. So really give thanks, that's what Hashem's asking us with these first fruits, and it connects into the Seder night, which is all about thanks. He took us out of Mitzrayim. And honestly, what it does, just to end off with this point, is it fixes up all of creation. Because the first sin happened with lack of gratitude. Adam Arishan didn't appreciate his wife, this wonderful soulmate, and the ability to just say thank you. And that, I'll end off, I mentioned it the other day, but just say one very beautiful idea. Everyone should wake up in the morning, not just thank Hashem for their life, but also thank Hashem for the wonderful people in your life. And it will give you a different mindset to the day, a mindset of gratitude, and the whole day will be on a different level. We should be blessed with that. Amen.